Good morning, everybody. Today is a very fun day for us. We're following up today's We Wonder, the morning after a hurricane just skirted the entire west coast of Florida. Hurricane Elsa just slipped by, hit hurricane status, and brought a lot of heavy winds and a lot of rain and some flooding. However, not as bad as it really sounded right at the time. But being prepared and having the right coverages is more important than ever, obviously in Florida, but everywhere else. And you can have flooding almost anywhere. But today's topic is very, very timely. So today's topic is going to be insuring your toys. And toys includes a lot of different things. So we brought in an expert from Progressive today, Trevor Caldwell. Trevor, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Chris. How about yourself?
Doing well. Trevor lives up in the Jacksonville area, but decided to move over for the week here to be in the St. Petersburg area to really enjoy the winds and the rain from Elsa, and it turns out not too bad for you, right?
No, I embraced my Florida man, came out here to the eye of the storm and wanted to conquer it, head on. But no, in all light of, I was doing preparation work for my family to make sure that everything came out okay, which I've got some fun stories that tie into to our products here. So looking forward to talking about it.
Well, fantastic. And I can tell you, same for me. I actually came to Jacksonville for a few days for work functions, but I was staying away from the West Coast. And turns out not a lot of damage, fortunately, which is great. But the way it looks on those forecast models, right? You're like, oh my gosh, we're right in the middle of this. However, being prepared, not only having the right coverages in place in advance, because you can't get them when the storm's coming, but in advance, having everything in place and having a plan in place is really the key. So, as most of you know, we do a We Wonder every week. And today's topic couldn't be more timely, as I mentioned. So, Trevor, tell us a little bit about, so Progressive has a lot of different coverages for toys. We call it toys, but it's everything from watercraft to a lot of different things. So let's start with watercraft and tell us kind of, what does Progressive cover?
Yeah, so Progressive covers pretty much anything that you could think of that you can place on your boat. So accessories is one thing that comes to mind. When you look at boat expenditures year over year, boats have basically, people have been paying more and more money to either buy boats or to upgrade their boats. And you have, enthusiasts that love their boats. They get all the, the high-end fishing gear, the GPSs. They have their, bait well bays. Like, everything is just absolutely immaculate. I mean, my neighbor just bought like $100,000 boat, and like half of it was in accessories. The best part about Progressive's programs is that we will allow you to increase your accessories coverage, on like your boat policy. That way, you're ensuring that your accessories are covered. In addition to that, Progressive does not depreciate for any losses, to your accessories. So instead of something, you only getting reimbursed for half of what that accessory is because it's depreciated over time, with Progressive, that you're going to get full replacement costs for those accessories, which for any type of boat enthusiast, you want to be able to replace your items with new items instead of, having to get some used items or not getting enough money to actually get that boat back to where it needs to be. So that's something that Progressive really, leads kind of the industry in, and is going to provide really good coverage for those enthusiasts. But I think my favorite piece that I'll talk about today actually has a nice story. So I was going to do this broadcast on the boat side or marina side here in downtown St. Petersburg. However, when I went to go down there, it was roped off. There's a few issues that are going on. We still have a few rain bands coming through. So, which is funny because I'm about 2 blocks away from that, and we just had a few sticks on the ground, like no issues. We never lost power, but the story's a lot different 2 blocks down. So it just goes to show you how these hurricanes can impact areas and how different that damage can look at. But when I went down there, I was hoping to see all these boats in the nice marina, but half of those boats or more were actually gone. They took these boats and essentially moved them out into the bay, so they're not knocking up against the dock. It's a nice way to kind of protect the boats and to protect the actual marina, which ties into an actual piece of coverage that we offer on our boat program, which is our hurricane haul-out coverage, which is where we'll actually pay up to half or all the way up to $2,000 to help either haul your boat out during a tropical or during a hurricane watch or warning to get it out of harm's way, or have it towed away to an area that's more safe so that you can protect your boat. Something that's new that we introduced into the market. But as you can see, a lot of people during this storm took advantage of some type of hurricane haul, whether they had our policy or not, to help give them some financial covering for that. You can see that people are using it. So I think those are two really nice pieces of coverage that you can take advantage of with our program.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a little counterintuitive, isn't it? When you start thinking about it, if you don't know much about boats, you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to haul it further out into the water. Seems a little odd, but you're absolutely right. That's where most of the damage occurs, is when they slam onto the docks or slam onto each other, or there's a big surge and it throws it, 20 feet onto, land into something else. That's serious damage. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's rare that you see a 20-foot wave coming in with a hurricane. It's just more real choppy water, so they can tie it down. So that's a good point. So the other question I had for you was, on boats themselves, is there a certain size that you go up to as far as number of feet on a boat?
Yeah, so we will insure almost all boats up to 35 feet of length in Florida, or in some states up to 55 feet, depending on where you're located. So it varies depending on where you're at. However, when you look at all the boats that we insure countrywide, and even just in Florida, I mean, we're still insuring upwards of almost 95% of the boats out there. The really big boats, it's just something that, we have so much exposure with the amount of boats that we have. So once we take on some of those larger boats, it really increases the severity of our certain types of claims. And we have to make sure that obviously we have enough money in the bank to pay out for our customers when there's a large event. Hurricane Irma showed us that we made the right decision, because, we had a lot of claims, but we were one of the ones that was able to stay around, not raise our rates, significantly, and keep our program, while other carriers had to either drop their program or make major modifications. But good news is, hey, up to 35 feet in Florida is still going to get you, the majority of your boats out there. But if you're outside of Florida, you may have the opportunity to write up to 55-foot boats. And lastly, there are the occasional boat specialists that we have. So on occasion, we may be able to get a boat in Florida up to 55 feet in Florida. By an exception, we do have a few boat specialists that we may be able to refer you to, but we can write some big boats, and obviously the majority of your medium sized to smaller boats.
I'm going to keep that in mind. As soon as I get over that 32-foot or 35-foot, I'll be really paying attention to that, just in case. But for the time being, we're going to be okay. So do you cover jet skis?
Yep, jet skis, PWCs. We're now getting in a little bit into the catamarans. We can write your sailboats as well. Even your little dinghies that you're bringing out there with your 15 horsepower engines. We can pretty much write it all. And we're extremely competitive when it comes to it. Just bringing out a little stat here, we are converting on almost half of the boats that are quoted with us right now. So typically, if we get a shot at it, we're going to be able to write it for you, which shows that we're competitive and we're providing the coverage that customers want.
That's fantastic. No, that's pretty good right there. Well, we got the watercraft in there. What about other toys, right? So, and not just in Florida, but everywhere. I mean, there's toys. People have RVs these days. Especially after post-COVID, right? Even during COVID, people are buying these things. We're talking golf carts. We're talking RVs. What other things are kind of included in our toys?
Yeah, so you've got your, you mentioned the two big ones, your golf cart and RVs, which are actually two of the fastest growing toy segments or recreational line segments that we have out there. RVs, I mean, year over year, we saw a peak in COVID, but now in 2021, your RV unit sales are up and above levels that we've never seen before. So we're continuing to see that rise. Golf carts, I think we're over 70% more sales in golf carts this year than we were in the previous year. So we're seeing a ton of golf carts out there. And there's a few different ways people are insuring these golf carts, and it's based off of how they're actually licensed and how they're tagged. So I'll get into that in a moment. But some of the other ones are your ATVs. So as you're going out there, either you're hunting or you just want to go out there mudding, you insure those ATVs. the UTVs, so the bigger ones that are truly designed for mudding, that when you go out there, you're just getting mud sprayed everywhere. We love to insure those. We also do your motorcycles. So, that segment is not growing as fast as some of the other recreational line segments. However, our sales are still greater than what they were before. So we're still riding a ton of them. I think we're starting to see more people shift towards that golf cart craze, maybe a little more ATV, UTV, a little less motorcycles on the road. But that's okay. I think we're just seeing a shift in focus. And then from your RVs, we all also do your travel trailers, all 3 different classes. So there's class A, class B, class C. We'll write pretty much any type of RV that you're either towing or that has its own engine and that's, running itself. So those are a lot of different types of toys. And I don't forget about the mountain folk, as we do insure a lot of snowmobiles as well. So that's a fun one that a lot of people don't realize, that we are also one of the leaders in insuring snowmobiles.
I had a note here that snowmobile sales in Florida have dropped dramatically. So but yes, the golf carts are a big deal, and I've seen them more and more. During COVID, I actually talked to someone. I said, "Well, is there a COVID discount on golf carts?" Because you figure, And the guy said, "Are you joking?" Because if we could get them in stock, we're charging more than we did before because there's so much demand for it. And so there's 2 different types, right? There's the street legal, and then there's the non-street legal golf cart. So tell us a little bit about that. So it's obviously very different as far as what you're insuring and what the cost might be. So.
Yep, absolutely. There's a huge difference. So depending on where you're located, if you're like me, I live in a golf cart community. So the roads, are deemed to be shared by both vehicles and golf carts. We also have golf cart paths. So in our neck of the woods, you can take your golf cart and drive it on these areas, and it does not need to be licensed or registered. So those are what we just call just your typical type of golf carts. Anything that you would drive on a golf course or just drive on your own land. That's just what we consider a typical golf cart. And that basically is written very similar to our motorcycle policy. It's actually on the same type of program. Average cost of that is only like $120 to $150 a year. Very inexpensive, but provides you the bodily injury coverage, the accessories coverage, the property damage coverage, everything that you would need, when it comes to a golf cart. However, we're starting to see a lot more communities buy golf carts, and these communities may not necessarily be deemed golf cart communities or golf cart accessible. So what a lot of municipalities are requiring are these golf carts to be tagged, and licensed as a motorized vehicle so that they can travel on these major roads. You see a lot in your beach towns. You'll see a lot, maybe more established neighborhoods that really weren't designed to have golf carts from the beginning. But once they are licensed and tagged, they are treated exactly as like your car, or a motorized vehicle, where in Florida, we have, PIP coverage that is required to be purchased for all your motorized vehicles. So if it is a street legal golf cart, you'll know that because it will have a VIN number, and it's registered, that actually needs to be written on a auto policy as like an additional vehicle, which, as you know, can be much more expensive than a typical motorcycle policy. So your cost is definitely going to be much higher on those street legal golf carts. And that's just because it's providing the type of coverage that you would get on a personal auto policy, and it's treating it like an additional vehicle, which in all reality, you are driving down the same roads as your cars, and roads that weren't necessarily deemed made for golf carts. So that's a little bit of the difference between the two and how you insure them. So if you're looking at purchasing a golf cart, definitely figure out, hey, do I need a street legal one, or can I take a regular golf cart? Because the pricing will be significantly different depending on which way you go.
Well, I have to say, Trevor, joining us, post hurricane, and again, I appreciate you doing that, giving us some updates. And again, it's important to have all these coverages well in advance of the time needing them, obviously. But you guys offer so much at Progressive. It's fantastic. And again, I appreciate the update, the talk today, and talking a little bit about what is covered and how to get it covered. And I'm looking to get that street legal golf cart any day now. So this is exciting. So.
Yeah, hey, just call me before. I know a lot about them. I have got these golf carts on my shirt. That is not just for show. I've got my 6-seater. It's a regular one, but it's souped up all the way. Well, all I need is my tag and my registration. Boom. and I'm off. I'm hitting the streets, my friend. So
you're down at the grocery store with the family. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. So,
awesome.
Trevor, stay safe, and I appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you, Chris. Take care.
You got it. Have a good one.